Peace and blessings, family. This is your boy Youre. It is Thursday, the 6th of July, 2017. I hope that you had a safe and blessed 4th of July. I hope that you made great memories, as well as I know I got to keep it real. I know some of y'all, 4th of July was about validation. But more importantly, I wanted to talk about something a little different, a little deeper, because it'll all tie in. How many of you have heard the term, be careful what you wish for? You just might get it. We've all heard that, right? Well, for some of you that have been following me, Tuesday, I did a video talking about 4th of July. And as I ended that, I also put that safety advisory out about, hey, Officer Friendly's out there. He don't want to be out there. And he's looking to make an example. Well, guess what, family? I had to work that day. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? The military doesn't take a day off. And I got a ticket. Yeah, I got a ticket from a patrol officer on a motorcycle. Flew right past me. He was going so fast. I saw him. You always look at your odometer when you see Officer Friendly. It's just instinct. Saw him whiz past me, bust a U-turn, and come right after me in my Jeep. Now, mind you, I was under the speed limit as he was making his U-turn. But that still did not stop him from pulling me over. And hey, I kept my disposition. And I understand right now, for quite a bit of time, those that work in the position to serve the community, things are not as it should be, because there are those who are doing their civic duty, and then there are those who are unfortunately taking advantage of it. So as I waited, gave my driver's license, I made sure that my tone was the same way across. And everything that was asked of me, I complied. There was just one problem. Immediately, the officer tried to convince me that I was doing a rate of speed 50 in a 35, when in actuality, I wasn't. Because the route that I take every day, every night, it's a work zone. And the roads wind. Customary that those that travel that, you normally will go over 5 miles an hour or so to keep up with the flow that is on that road. So when the officer tried to suggest I was doing a rate of speed, I corrected him, but tactfully. He got very angry that quick. So I already knew the conversation or dialogue was going to become very antagonistic. So I just simply kept my disposition so the process could be done. After giving my credentials for additional 15 to 17 minutes, He ran my tag, tried to find everything he could. But I have a clean record. After realizing that, his whole disposition shifted. Then the misters and the energy that was given from me initially was finally reciprocated back. But now you're committed to the stop. So now I have to take an additional steps. And yes, I will go to court and I will seek to get it reduced, if not dropped, because it's about integrity. Now, on a different note, when I got to work, my day was fine because the fact that I wasn't going to allow someone's energy to affect my day. You have some people, unfortunately, that you work with that step out into that community that you live in, and we're not privileged to see what's going on that sets the tone for their day. So I already knew that to try to communicate my concern was pointless because this person already had a point of view that, hey, it's no secret. There are those that believe that holidays, those that serve in that position, have a quota that they have to make. I can't confirm that, can't deny that. But it seemed pretty obvious that, yeah. But that I wanted to share for a reason. Because on that day that I put my video out and I put that disclaimer out to you, I realized, even though I don't have any regrets for it, because unfortunately, the reality is there were people on the 4th of July that started their day that didn't get to see the end of it. So I have no regret for that because your life is priceless. But what I did gain from that was this. What I had done was manifest that experience. Now, here's something that people don't know. A lot of times when a person gets a ticket, gets pulled over, it's because they already were doing that previous. And finally, it had came back. You know, that is spiritual validation. So part of me was okay with receiving that ticket because previously, yeah, I had you drive 5 over, you know. So I wasn't mad about that. And that was a validation for me, like, hey, look here, slow down. And as you already know, the best way for someone to learn an experience, haven't you noticed money's always connected to it? Oh, yes. You want someone to correct? Mess with the decimal points in their bank account. But on a bigger note, I realized that what I was speaking, I was receiving back. So lesson was learned. So I am going to take necessary steps to correct that. Mm-hmm. Now, that out the way, I know that some of you may be having a rough go of this summer. You may have had experiences take place and you may be feeling, let's be honest. Let's be honest, man. You're feeling really unsure yourself. And part of you feels that you have to circle the wagons in your life. Some may feel that, well, this is just the way it is, so I'm going to go for broke. Others may feel that, no, I'm just going to be impulsive. What's the worst that can happen? Well, the worst thing that can happen is a delay in your life, or worse, your existence stops. How about your dreams? Are you still working on your dreams? They're yours for a reason. Hold that thought one second, family, because what you don't know is I just made my coffee, fresh Arabica beans. Give me a second so I can grab my coffee, okay? All right, be right back. One second. One second. All right. Coffee for you. Boy, I tell you, I think this has got to be a guilty pleasure. Just, I like coffee. I really do. But too much of a good thing is not good for you. So let me get back. First of all, thank you for being patient. I got my coffee. I do. Cheers. Hope you're having a great day. Now, so it made me think about manifestation, the power of words. You realize that you only use 6% of your brain, even though scientists claim that it's 10. Now imagine if you were to fully apply using that 6%. You realize how dynamic your life is would be? But do you realize how much effort will be required to make it true? You hear entertainers and people that are on platforms talk about manifestation all the time. One of the latest entertainers that spoke on it was Drake, as he talked about his beginning and his current status of where he is. But you never hear about the application, the ethics that are required for that to be. Just like think of it like a diamond. Your life is a diamond. But before the first luster can be displayed in the world, you have to start off as that lump of coal. That coal is buried. It is not identified, it's not transformed unless certain things take place. Certain things are given, certain things are removed, and it starts to shape. Certain things will occur that will spark fear and insecurity in your life to the point that you are stuck in your tracks. Now, here's the irony of that. Only you know that. But the rest of the world will not feel that unless you display. You see this a lot of times when people tend to have a lot of bravado, a lot of rebellion, a lot of discurrent, a lot of this. These big lips are getting in the way. Not having any thought about their well-being. And a lot of times it shows us in a negative light, especially if you're not there in the beginning. It's always seen as one incident. You know how it is. It says one apple spoils the bunch. But no one talks about the tree. No one talks about the barrel. That barrel is nothing but the environment that holds that fruit, the evidence. We're talking about your life. Now, I mentioned to you a couple times in a couple videos why it's so important that you have that conversation with yourself. First of all, let me explain something to you. Having inventory, taking stock in your life is not a sign of weakness. It's a validation of preparation of where your life is going. Now, we can both agree, we can all agree that we have a vision of what our life would like to be. But a lot of times we speed past the application part. We speed past the disappointments. We speed past the things that cause us to question our own existence. Why? Why is that? Because there's no celestial pomp and circumstances? Or is it because the fact that that beautiful little boy and little girl that lives inside you demands it? That's the real reason why you see people today walking around as if they are comatose. Here, you may also know them as using this as an excuse. I'm frozen. I'm numb. I was in a dark place. Well, if you have enough intellect to identify these descriptive words, why won't you give yourself what you truly deserve and long for all along. Because see, that takes courage. That in itself requires application. But here's the sad part. Because life is not about grandeur. It's not. Even though your environment would like to convince you to think that, they will never let you see the small print. Mm-mm. And you see this play out time and time again. The reason for it is, see, what you see is made for TV, and it's really small. It's a microcosm compared to your life. When you take who you are and compare what your wants are, you'll see how small that really is. But this can be very scary for some people because the truth, as you already know, will set you free. And the reality of it may require you to let go. Now, I know there may be some people say, well, Joe, no, then that means they won't. That that make me look like I'm weak. No, maybe this is the moment that everything that you've experienced thus far is really going to be your setup, and it was not your setback. Who am I talking to? Do you actually think you're supposed to spend one day feeling feeling those knots inside you, feeling confused? I do one better. You've allowed your environment to convince you your worth matters none. When you come to realize, when you ground your feet and do for you, you'll realize the people that were conveying that were not the example themselves. So therefore, you always hear this cliche: birds of a feather flock together. But I like to add, a flock with no direction always finds death. How about disappointment? Because in the disappointment, there's still validation of truth. The truth of the matter is, they didn't deserve to know your story. They didn't deserve to hear you breathe. They did not deserve to walk with you. They were only a distraction. And usually nine times out of 10, they were there to be your setback. Now, I know that might be a stark reality check for someone because you're feeling it, but I'm letting you know you're loved. I'm also here to let you know this: the person that's going to know your complete story is also being made new right now. But here's the beautiful thing about it. See, they have a relationship with God. When you put the distractions to the side and you pick up the accountability, guess what's going to happen? Everything that was a distraction will fall from it. We know it as real, recognizes real, but your direction will be revealed right in front of you. Here's another thing too, and I know a lot of times because I do have a lot of female subscribers. I thank you. You're one of the reasons why I do it, because I'll be honest with you, it's really disappointing to see the state of womanhood. It's really tragic because you have those who've already walked those shoes, have walked that journey, and they're letting you figure it out for yourself. You remember, each one teach one. But people are being taught, but they're also being forgotten. Therefore, that means they ain't learned the lesson to begin with, only deemed to repeat it over and over and over again. Now, we could turn around and play conspiracy theory and say, well, it's the agenda. You have those people that don't want to see you prosper. But if you're going to tell that, if you're going to hold that statement, you also have to look at it and be brutally honest, because those same people look just like you. And we have an underlying loyalty, hoping that tomorrow their disposition, their attitude, how about their example, will be warranted or worth everything you've gone through thus far. Here's the brutal truth on that. You can't make anyone do anything they don't want to do. You have to come to accept that. So the responsibility falls back on those beautiful shoulders. So if you allow them to fall on those beautiful shoulders, we can automatically omit this excuse. It just happened. Nothing just happens. When you take that position, you are basically saying everything I went through is in vain. Don't you realize your life is the exception? That's why things are starting to click. That's why things are starting to make sense. But what is required is the application to fulfill the prophecy. That's why you're here. Now, I'm going to throw this disclaimer out here too, because for some odd reason, the camera has stopped. I'm not going to worry about that, because you can't, my words come from my heart. My heart is connected to my spirit. And I know the intended person at the intended time will receive what they need. Because the devil's work is never done. We already know that, right? Now, so let's go back to manifestation. You do understand, or did you know, where you are right now was already written the moment that you took your first breath. It is also a reference point for who you are within yourself. Did you know that? Now, I know somebody will look at it from a perspective of, well, Gerald, listen, I'm going through hell right now. My life is not as I wished it to be. But if you just stop right there and think about that last choice, because the two spiritual gifts God gave you, number one was to unconditionally love yourself. The other was the right of free will, the right to choose. But where you are is a validation of choices made. You can't overlook that. You can't. For example, and I'm just going to use this as an example. We'll say you turn on your local news and you hear about a story and there's a shooting, right? And okay, matter of fact, it was a good one. Y'all remember last week in, I don't know if it was Ohio, it was somewhere where there was a rapper. He was having a show and an altercation ensued. and they guesstimated 17 to 22 people were shot, right? The youngest was 16 years old. 16 years old. So right there, you would question, why is a 16-year-old in a club setting? Now, if that 16-year-old had any, I don't want to sound, if that 16-year-old had made better choices, that 16-year-old would have never been there. The validation, unfortunately, was because he was there. The evidence was, unfortunately, he was wounded. I don't wish bad on nobody. But see, some people will flip that and say, well, you know, everybody's going to die. And when my time comes, it comes. But see, there's a lot of things that we experience, family, that we're not supposed to. Did you hear me? That's why it's so important that if you don't know this word, or if you're not grasping this beautiful word called no, N-O, that word has power. You know why? Because the word no does not mean forever. The word no means under review. If it's not of your standards, why are you accepting it? See, this is going to require some people to be honest with themselves. So if your environment is not conducive to your direction, why are you there? Now, I understand there may be some folks that say, well, Gerald, I'm a victim of circumstances. I wish I could leave my environment, but I'm not financially able to make that choice because you may be living in someone's household, or financially you don't have the means to do so. But one thing that you can do, you can pray. You say, well, what's the point on praying, Gerald? You can pray anywhere. You're exactly right. But to properly pray, you must be vulnerable with yourself. That is a dialogue within you, your spirit, that beautiful element inside you, your spirit, the real you. Because you do know that the physical is only a tool to be able to walk around on this earthly realm. You was a spiritual being before you became a flesh. That is also the reason why you have natural gifts and talents, because these gifts and talents are also really the tools that will be used to navigate you through your life. That's why there'll never be another you. That's why it's really a transgression not to love yourself. That's why when you hear people say, well, imitation is flattery. No, it's not. That's choosing. That's choosing to not claim what's rightfully yours, your life. You know your life is priceless, right? So why won't you invest in it? And I understand it's easier said than done, because truth be told, Many of you are afraid. Many of you are terrified that you're going to live your life alone. Who am I talking to? Huh? Let me tell you something. The more you invest in your life, the more your life will be transformed. And it is. Because you have a whole lot of life still to be lived, but you got to prepare for it. It's just like someone that doesn't know how to value $1, but they are gifted a million. How long you think they're going to keep that million? Not long, because they're going to be enticed to be of the world. When in actuality, maybe that $1 million is nothing but a spiritual, financial seed for your family tree. You ever thought about that? Because the reality is this, you can't take it with you. That's why you see so many people that have assessed wealth. They always make a point to show that they're giving back. First of all, only person that needs to know that is you and God. Well, first of all, God already knows your heart. So does the devil. He knows that. He knows that a lot of times this is nothing for public acceptance. Public, get that public attaboy. Yeah, you went out there and you gave turkeys to the homeless. Yeah, but what was you doing before you were in that position? See what I'm saying? Now, not to be winded, I also noticed that right now that there is a big, big focus on health restore health restore restoration, excuse me. There's a big push for that. And you're starting to see, especially for you millennials, you guys are going back to the gym. I commend you. Commend you on that. But let me ask you this. Why are you going to the gym? Are you going to better yourself, or are you going because you want to be part of the crowd? Hmm? Think about it. 65% of the people that go to gyms and stuff like that, they do it. The gym is like the new club. You know, everybody wants to be accepted. So that's the new in spot. But guess what? When it comes to your health, the first building block to live healthy is to make sure that you stay hydrated. But the most important piece is that your mind is also hydrated, meaning you have a clear perspective. Otherwise, you see this a lot of times. You see a person like a social butterfly in the facility. Been on that treadmill, on that bicycle for an hour and a half, ain't broke a sweat. Why? Because their agenda was not to work out. Their agenda was to come up with an agenda, using that as another platform to go hunting. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of y'all may not realize that you're being misled because you see the social benefit of it and the false gratification from it. Because, yes, I empathize to you, queens, because every time you turn around, there is another pretty face with a nice physique splashed all over the internet. Not one time, does her intellect in regards to her aptitude come into question, but it is measured by her dexterity instead. And you wonder why you have what we call as Johns. Well, there are plenty of Johns out there. We use the term of being thirsty. But you can't build with a person that's thirsty, because being thirsty will never hold a candle to being loved, which goes back to what I've echoed before. You can't welcome love from another person if you don't love yourself first. You are the example. You are the living template of how you deserve to be treated. The question is, why would you think less than? But if you let society tell you, society wants nothing more than for you to be a candle in the wind, to be ultra sexual, especially you millennials. I echoed all the time. Take the stopwatch out your life. Take it away. Ground your feet. Because your greatest lesson that you will ever embrace, if you choose to embrace, will be the story of your life. It won't matter how many people you know. How about this? How many people that you allowed to lay on top of you? None of that matters when it comes to the one that will have the key that will unlock the other side of your life. But see, you have those people that want to convince you that monogamy is dead. Don't get married. Well, if marriage was not important, why would being yoked be echoed in that sacred doctrine? That's why God said, don't try to yoke with the unyoked, because all you'll come out of that is torment, disappointment, and setback. But I'm a firm believer of this, family. Even in setback, if you allow yourself to be vulnerable, hold yourself accountable so that you measure your steps. I did not say beat yourself up. I did not say be critical. I did not say be afraid to grow. Because when you decide to make that choice, truth of the matter is, you're going to get pissed off, because the things that you were not privileged, the things that were hidden, the things that were set up to snare you, how about just keep you from growing? You do realize that if you have people that have been given access to your life, but they're not progressing, but they have a lot of opinions about yours, they're solely there to live the example of what not to do. That's just like taking advice from someone that will never have your best interest. That's the worst thing you can do. Because they should be a living example to inspire. And inspiration is nothing but validation of the direction that you headed. So if they're not building, they're really blocking. Now, I'm going to get on this and I'm going to shut it off on this point. You do understand that demons are real. Yes, they are. But angels exist, just as there are spirit guides. Your spirit guides are nothing but loved ones on a physical form that have transcended into the spiritual realm, and they look out for your behind. They look out for your behalf. Some of y'all, they look out for your behind because you've been going through some stuff. You've been playing around. You've been playing a dangerous game, and you actually get a kick out of thrill seeking. Let me tell you something. The devil will always give you what you want. He will. He will give you everything you want. But you will pay when the bill comes. And here's the thing about it. You might be the conduit to destroy your elders, your connections, how like your children through you. Let me make this more clear. Because first of all, the devil doesn't want you to discover who you are. So that's why he uses impulse. He uses fear. He uses distraction. Even convinces you when you have a thought cross your mind. Why did that come there? Why am I thinking this? And tries to snuff that out because he knows. He knows if you just stop. Stop. I'm talking to you. Stop. Take note what your environment shows you right now. And if there's no peace in it, it's because there's pain that lives there. I know that there may be some people right now that had to deal with the challenge of sexual assault, maybe at a young age. And you know in your heart, you're using that as a justification for your behavior now. You've actually convinced yourself, well, ain't nobody give a damn about me, so I'm not going to give a damn about them, and I'm just going to do me. But you know, doing you ain't you. It just breaks you down. That's why you see it so many times. You will see that promiscuous person. Now, at the end of the day, what you choose, you have to take accountability for. But accountability will never be found in the presence of the Jezebel spirit. She's the reason why your sex drive is through the roof. She's also the reason why your disposition is the way it is. Because ultimately, you're like a spiritual weapon aimed to destroy everything and everyone you come in contact with. Because as long as you don't give a damn about you, the end goal is she's going to destroy you. Now, if you want to turn this around, you got to start loving on you more. And I got it because we misconstrued that as that's chemistry, Youre. He and I have a connection. He gets me. She understands me. She's my dream girl. But is she your forever? Because your forever, guess what? They can finish your sentence. They also feel you. They feel your spirit. Some may know that as your soulmate. But this is what I find funny too, because wherever you bring up the conversation of soulmate, soul ties are nowhere in the discussion. But quickly, twin flames is right around the corner. But let me explain something to you real quick. The more and more that you have the courage to claim you back, because you still have a whole lot of love to give. But if they don't have a relationship with God first, truth of the matter is they will never have a relationship with themselves. And unfortunately, they will never have a relationship with you. That's why when you try to have those heart-to-heart conversations, they turn it off. They try to deflect. We know that as gaslighting, make you feel crazy. But really what's going on is you are tapping in to that person's who they really are. And the truth is they can't tell you what you need. You see this a lot of times in couples, they fight for what? Over trivial stuff, things that don't matter tomorrow. Some use that as a tactic just to avoid the discussion. But guess what? When's the last time you had that discussion with you? You know how they say, if you're so focused on what's going on in my business, then your business is already together. When the truth of the matter is 85% of the people ain't doing the work. This isn't out of judgment. This is love. Because what y'all don't realize is systematically, the population control is aggressively decreasing. You see it, unfortunately, splashed over your news because a lot of our babies are being slaughtered on the streets due to choices made. And a lot of times it's because they don't feel emotionally safe. Otherwise, they wouldn't put themselves in harm's way. So once again, you can't just say it just happened. It is the reaction of a choice made. You got to own that, family. Just like on the flip side, for you, my queens, I told you you need to protect yourself. You need to slow down because at an alarming rate, a lot of you are waking up sterile. Let me sink that in. Let me put that over you again. A lot of you are waking up sterile. So that means from you, you won't be able to be someone's mother. Now I know that I know there's somebody's gonna say, well, you can be somebody's mom if you adopt, Youre. You still can be somebody's mom just by giving support. I understand that. But I'm talking in the terms of 23 of your chromosomes and 23 of the father's chromosome coming together to make a blessing. How about an example? Reason of the purpose of why you exist. See, if you're not living for you, you can't live for your babies. And we wonder why generational curses exist. Some of y'all may have seen that. Whole families, they all got the same mindset, but they all not doing nothing. How coincidental is that? Well, guess what? One thing we can agree upon is this. You could take a child from Russia and put that child in Toledo, Ohio as a newborn. We'll say, I'll flip it again. Russia, give that baby to an Asian family as a newborn. That baby will take on the traits of that environment until it gets to the point of questioning its likeness. But that child will take on the environment that it is taught. That's how powerful our minds are. What if the environment was positive? What if the environment was supportive? Do you realize how different this world would be? Do you realize that? So you got to question who benefits, who's benefiting now? Who's benefiting this whole time? But here's the sad thing. If you honestly think it is one class of people, you have already been deceived. Because there are plenty that look just like you and I that are also hoping that you don't come into your own. Just on a monetary note, you realize how many people of wealth that you look to that invest in the correctional facilities? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of celebrities who do it, but they're not going to put their stuff out there. But they do. So let's turn the page. You're in summertime now. This is summer, new season. Choose 5 things that you have put to the side. And out of those 5 things, take 2 of those 5 and put application on it. Apply focus on that. And I guarantee if you do that, it will make a very big impact in your life. Now, I'll even say this, Queens, you're so focused on your body. First of all, let me throw this out there. There is nothing more beautiful than a healthy woman. Did you hear what I said? There's nothing more beautiful than a healthy woman. I did not say because she's built like a Coke bottle. I said she is healthy. Maybe genetically, your lineage were husky. Maybe your lineage was petite. But it does not matter if your mind is not the healthiest organ in your body. Because when you think about it, if your mind's not right, your money's not right. Who am I talking to? You mad that your paperwork ain't right? Then acknowledge it ain't right and have the courage to make change. Because you do realize as long as you put it to the side, all those people that didn't have your benefit, your beneficial interest, you're benefiting them. So why are you in that dysfunctional relationship? Because he knows how to make your vowels sound, A-E-I-O-U, or because the fact that The truth of the matter is you didn't love him, but you loved what he brought to the table. You need to take that price tag off your life, Queen. I know society wants to convince you that that's the way to have your dream life is to ransom your body, but don't get it twisted. Because I said this 5 years ago. You do know every time that you allow someone access to that flower, a part of their DNA is attached to you forever. And you wondering why you have those mood swings? It's because that's a soul tie. It's a soul tie. That ain't nothing but a spiritual shackle to keep you from gaining access to where you initially or intentionally should end up. That's why they're not grown. That's why they can't tell you the truth. That's why when you need them, they're never there. But when they need you, you're the first person they call. Why? Because they don't see your value, nor do they want to. Millennials, I got much love for you. I do. But the truth of the matter is, you're not grown because you're 18. You're not grown because you're 21. You truly are grown when you're blessed to see 35. That's a little bit over a third of your life. That means that gives you enough time to have been alive to assess not only where you've been, where you are, where you're going. So if your environment has not changed, why are you there? Why are you there? Because unless you choose to turn a blind eye, and I'm not trying to condemn nobody, but I got to understand, and I have to put this out there too, because you may have came up in an environment where there was no affection shown, there was no I love yous, there was no support, and it was more or less figured out on your own. Just feel it, just figure it out. But guess what? Take a step back, not to give a pass, but look at it from this perspective. Perhaps the example shown was the level of what they were working with. A person can't give you advice if they have not been where you are. And the question should be, why would you? Why would you? That's just like me trying to give advice about drug addiction. I've never been a drug addict. See, but there's a certain level of empathy that can be given. But at the end of the day, we have to do our own work. We have to bear our own cross. We have to take that spiritual backpack off. And that is a big problem that a lot of people have, because they allow their pride to be the emotional band-aid to their environment. Listen, you want to change your life up? Acknowledge what is not working and have the courage to take that first step to change it. Not only what's going to happen is you're going to, like I said, you're going to be given information that you probably did not know, but you're going to get validation to where you are to go. Or how about this? Lack of. Because that might be validation for some of y'all. The example was going to be shown is absence. But guess what? Sometimes God will make it so that No one has access to your life. I know somebody said, well, that means I'm undateable. No, fall back in love with you. That's one thing you'll come to understand when it comes to growth. Not public. Majority of the growth is done behind the scenes. So maybe this is the time that you will actually fall back in love with you. How about have the courage to heal? Because as long as you keep gravitating to your environment is going to continue to give you what you don't want. And who's to say? Maybe they are insecure and hoping that you will not be able to see it, because they benefit, because they know that if you grow, you're going to leave. They can't afford that. So who's mooching? Excuse me. And I'm about to bring this home because you've heard this before when you're upbringing. You heard it. You heard your elders, you heard your parents say, don't take nothing that you didn't earn. Or you may have said, don't accept gifts from strangers. We've heard that, right? But really what they was telling you is, do not receive something that was not earned, because it always has strings attached, unseen strings. But you don't have to see them because you feel them, don't you? But know this, that feeling is a reminder, not only that you have something better, because let me explain something to you, and I got to shut up. You do understand when you go through a heartbreak, that's exactly what's happening. It is breaking off the rough edges of the things that were false, but it also is showing you how strong you are. But guess what? You don't get a pass when it comes to disrespect. You don't get a pass to be reckless. You don't get a pass to disrespect your name. All these things we know as opportunists use. You see it. There's so much bear hopping going around, but nobody's caring about them STDs now. Nope. They don't care. You're seeing a lot of Jezebel spirit work, because Jezebel is painting the illusion of, well, to get over someone, I got to get under someone. And because he gave me this car, that's an upgrade. There's no such thing as an upgrade when it comes to your respect. And you know what the consolation prize is on that? Your life is depreciated, because your mate, may it be a male, it's not about the monetary that comes with him that he has to protect. What he has to protect is his last name and the legacy that was built before him. The people that came before him, even though you don't hear, what about them? What about his grandparents? If he gives a damn about himself, he gives a damn about his legacy. But if he doesn't have a relationship with God first, unfortunately, he will be just like a nomad, walking aimlessly through life, only for it to be another example of what not to do. But family, this is the summertime. I want each and every one of you, step out of your comfort zone. Be real with yourself. Stop telling people keep it real when you can't keep it real with that beautiful person in the mirror. I think it's funny. I don't know which more funny. Watch a woman uh, sway her imitation hair. That trips me out. I see that all the time. I see a lot because I will share this with y'all. Y'all don't know this, but I've decided to get back in shape. So I'm back into um, hitting the speed bag. I've got a speed bag, heavy bag set in my garage, but I'm also a member of the UFC gym now. So I will be, my body's gearing back up to getting conditioned like it should. Plus, I miss my six pack. I miss it. So, but nonetheless, I want you to let this be the summer that is pivotal. That, hey, it's time to grab those dreams, put some application to it, and let it open some doors. Now, like I said, the flip side is you're going to see the worth and value of your environment reciprocated back to you because the people that don't have your support, well, guess what? They will show you like a Roman candle. They're going to show you. Just place God first in everything you do because He's got something far more priceless, and it's called your life. You're worth it. Be blessed.